Welcome back. You're watching NewsX. My name is Vineet. Well, a mysterious blast has shaken the area near a CRPF school in Sector 14 in the Rohini area in New Delhi. The blast that took place was powerful enough to damage the school wall. A nearby shop and its windows and a parked car were also severely impacted as a result of this blast. No injuries so far have been reported. A call was received by the PCR informing them of the blast at around 7:47 a.m., which prompted officers to rush to the scene. The incident is currently under investigation, with officials working to determine the source and nature of this blast. A video shot after the incident that has surfaced also shows thick smoke blowing out from the spot. Ayush Sharma, my colleague at this point in time, is joining us and he's going to give us the latest report on what is going on on ground zero at this point in time. Ayush, what more can you tell us? Has any word come out in terms of what actually caused this kind of a blast?
Well, yes, Vineet, currently I am at the very place where the incident took place, and I want to show you along with Delhi police, who are working since morning to find out the exact cause of the incident, how the blast took place, whether it was some planted blast or whether it was some natural blast which was earlier being told of that there was a gas blast and some sewer sort of thing, but there are still many question marks which are being raised about this blast. As we can see, the commandos, the FSL team and the Delhi police who are checking the site since morning, and on the other hand I want to and their signboards have totally been destroyed by the wing of the blast. The CCTV video which is surfacing the internet we can see in that some sort of explosive material came from the inside of the CRPF school wall, and now the CCTV cameras and the shops which are present on the other side of the road are completely destroyed by the wave of that very blast.
All right, Ayush, appreciate you joining us. Well, we'll talk about this with our guest who joining us at this point in time is Mr. RVS Mani, former Under Secretary, Ministry of Home Affairs and Internal Security Affairs expert. Major General Dhruv Katoch, Director of the India Foundation and Defence expert, also joins us on the show. Mr. Sumit Peer, Senior Political Commentator, with us on the program as well. General Katoch, I'll begin with you. Well, at this point in time, not much information is out, but from what I have read and what is out there in social media as well, this does indicate, in all probability, to some sort of a curated explosion where a crude bomb has been ascertained to be the cause of this explosion. Some white powder was also found. Soil samples have been collected. The forensic analysis is still underway, but if you were to go by your initial impressions, sir, what is this a case of?
Thank you, Vineet. Vineet, firstly, I think Delhi has been safe for a very long time, which is a compliment to the security forces who have ensured that no incident takes place. Even in the present incident, while an explosion has taken place, it's a good thing that there is no casualties. Now, my initial impression of this was that, the two things which I'm looking at, one is the fact that it took place on a Sunday, and the second was that it was near the CRPF school, in fact on the CRPF school wall. Now, while we really don't know who is the perpetrator as of now, I tend to believe that it has got something to do with the Maoists. For a very specific reason, is really the location of, why have they targeted the school, right? And the CPI, the leftists, the CPI Maoists, they've been having a very bad run of it for a long time in Chhattisgarh and in other places, and they suffered very heavy casualties. I think it is perhaps it could be something to do with them. Of course, that is a very far shot. We really don't know. It could be anybody. Delhi, the big city, there are many slums in that area. We've got a whole lot of illegals who are living in Delhi now, from the Rohingyas to the Bangladeshis to, well, we really don't know. There's so many of them there. It could be anyone. But looking specifically from the motive point of view, I thought that the CPI Maoists would have the maximum motive, really, as far as this particular blast is concerned. But we'll have to wait and see developments. However, the fact that it was done on, why it was done on a Sunday is perhaps because on all other days, there is a lot of movement there. And the perpetrators may find it actually difficult to do it on a working day when a lot of movement is there. So perhaps that is why it was that Sunday is chosen. And it is a low-grade explosive, as has been indicated. So we'll see further as to how things shape out. Vineet.
All right, Mr. Mani, where do you stand on this? A lot of things are going unanswered at this point in time. We have seen how airports and airlines have also been traumatized because of these hoax calls of bombs in them, and still nobody in sight in terms of culpability. What is this environment becoming at this point in time? All these VPNs that anybody can use and make phone calls and never be detected is obviously becoming a big problem for intelligence agencies as well.
Indeed, the volumes are so bad. I'm very sorry to say, but the question is, suddenly there is a spurt. See, suddenly there is a conference here. These are from not the last few days. There have been certain successes of the government on the development front. Yes, the development juggernaut has to be arrested. If there are many people who are within the country and outside the country also who do not want the India to be the level of success. And for example, as you said, the airlines and the transportation and the traffic and the railways are two major icons which are reflexive of the rapid development stride we are making, especially the Vande Bharat train, the Vistadom coaches, etc., etc. Once I was traveling to Chandigarh in the Vande Bharat, some stone pelting happened within Delhi near Patel Nagar or that area. From the Delhi car, it goes through that area. So it is all happening. Many of them are reported, many of them don't get reported and all that. But these are all happening, and it is unfortunate that we are living among them. As General Katul pointed out, yes, in so far as the left-wing extremists are concerned, especially in Chhattisgarh, we have had a lot of successes. In fact, to the extent that the movement of Maoists is almost truncated, and some of the recent deaths of one of the convicted, later on acquitted person, it has also been an impetus to that. See, immediately you have to see the pattern. Immediately after the day of Sai Baba was dead, few days later, an old case is revived and some protests are happening about the Najib Ahmed's missing in 2015, on which the High Court has also settled the case on that. So these dots have to be joined. This is one part of the story. Added to that, the recent developments in Canada, especially the Khalistani is getting support over and above that. And this is the season of stubble burning and the anti-farm laws people getting upper. This is their tax season today. So I don't call it in a positive sense, negative sense, it is for them. So they are also showing their fangs. So fangs wherever it is happening. So who could be? Because that was pointed out, it was Sunday morning. Sunday morning, the military CRPF type schools, although it's a day school, they do have certain camps like the NCC or maybe the sports camps, etc., or people dressing in that. It is not so much of crowded deal. But what was the purpose? Now let us wait for the bomb data examination, let us wait for the forensics to come to a conclusion as to who could be. So I do not rule out even the hostile Khalistani gangs which have penetrated, which are actually alive, sleeper cells alive in Punjab and Haryana, and which is in close proximity in Singhu border and all that. That the Rohini is, let us not forget, Rohini is the nearest, most proximate location from the Singhu border, and especially there also they were confronted by the CRPF and all that as additional reinforcement. So it could be anybody, either if the point was to send a message to CRPF, yes, or the point was send a message to the government of India, possibly, or point was send a message because there are so many things. The Delhi government also is into a lot of resettling, all sorts of things under the flyovers, illegals are being allowed to squat all over the public places. So it is a whole lot of things which need to be understood. Delhi special cells, as Katul pointed out, is a very excellent and ace organization. They are always getting successes as a counter-terrorism, counter-nationalism and all sorts of violence are concerned. But the range policing has to really improve do much better. The surveillance and the beat level constable also has to improve, so that subsequently these things we get advance alerts on this. So these are all I wanted to do. Thank you.
Sumit Peer, how do you see this? And obviously, I don't want to get into what the political back and fro has been between the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party, but the fact of the matter is that this is a case of intelligence failure.
Vineet, thank you for having me on your show. My take on it after the two eminent panelists have spoken is very simple. Look, if you look at the bomb Sunday morning at around 7 o'clock, nobody plants bomb on a Sunday morning 7 o'clock. This is just to a POC, proof of concept, and to send you a message. Proof of concept is done. Proof of concept is to send a message. We can have a bomb blast in the heart of Delhi near a school, and we have successfully demonstrated you a sample. This is what is the opinion. Otherwise, look at the timing, look at the day, it is not viable. Now, there's somebody who is trying to send a message to India. It can be those Khalistanis, it can be those Islamists, it can be those, people from across the border, it can be anybody. The challenge with our state Delhi is Delhi police has done fantastic work all these years and have been doing a fantastic job even today. But the quantum of troubles because of political and geopolitical things are increasing. If you look at the geopolitics of it, we have all and every hostile neighbor today. There's not even one neighbor who is friendly to us, and our hostilities across the world are increasing because of our economic development and progress. Now, if you look at the politics of it, all the Rohingyas, all the Bangladeshis, somehow they end up in Jammu, some of they end up in Delhi, some of they end up in states where they get hostile Dana Pani and they get Aadhaar cards, they get ration cards, and they get all the political patronage and support, and they come up. Now, who out of them can be infiltrated? Who of them works for ISI, for Chinese intelligence, for Muslim Brotherhood? We don't know, because today you can't even rule out even organizations like Muslim Brotherhood getting activated here. Now, if you look at the blast, look, it was not a slender blast. It was not a crude blast. There's been some white powder which has been found, and as a matter of fact, energy commandos and bomb experts and all have been roped, and that means there is something what the authorities have seen. Of course, they will come up with it. What I'm trying to point out is let's not look into this blast what happened, and let's look into the possibility what can happen in the near future. This is a very clear-cut sign and an alarm for us where we have been told that look, we have developed the capability to hit you within the capital. Now, do we need something like a Patriot Act? Do we need to increase the policing? Do we need to go for the very aggressive things? Whatever we need to do, we have to do, because in today's time, it's very easy for somebody to commit a crime and put it on somebody else. Right, somebody might even tomorrow come up say XY Gazette gang, this did, Lawrence Bush Bishnoi did it, this did it, just a crap, this can be a smoke screen which can be created over it. But the problem here is that there is a possible infringement in the parameter of the security, which is a serious concern. School is being told to us because school has kids, this is a serious concern. CRPF school is a very targeted, pointed, thought of destination. And in the morning, where nobody get hurt, but it will be enough bang on a Sunday so that people on the national TV will start talking about it and covering it. And as far as whatever that explosion was worth of for them, the people who planted it, it has got them that due, mind share. But now the things are with us. We have to decide what do we want to do. We have to decide what do we want to do. In our country, if we are waiting for the accidents or incidents to happen and then react, sorry, that kind of mechanism is not going to work, because we have to become proactive now, and we don't have to wait for them to act. We have to take them out before they do. That is why for years I've been suggesting we should have something like a Patriot Act. We should have a separate Ministry of Internal Security, because challenges are going to increase, they are not going to go down. So, if you don't have a very targeted approach against terrorism and all, and you are not proactive, they are going to take advantage. Today, aaj Delhi hoga, kal kahin aur hoga. Right? And how can you stop this political mess of getting Rohingyas here? How can you stop the political mess of getting these Bangladeshis here? How can you stop the political mess of where they get Aadhaar cards, where they get ration cards, and where everything is available to them at peanuts? There are practical problems in the system which you have to deal with, and most of them are political. Now, with all these fiascos going on, the saving grace here is that the police and administration is under the central government, is under BJP, so still we have a lot of saving grace. Imagine if Delhi was a full-fledged state, which always say should never be given. Imagine it was the Aam Aadmi Party controlling the police and administration. For our mantris and pradhan mantris even to step out of the house would have become a problem today. So that is why Delhi should never be a full state. You have to keep it as it is, and maybe you have to even lower the powers, and you have to be very, very strict in Delhi, except 1 or 2, 3 functions. There is nothing which can be given to the state government. And Delhi as a state, is it a concept which is workable? In my opinion, it's a flawed concept. Go back to the complete control of Delhi as a union territory. That is the only way or the saving grace we have. Now today, if you will look at it, Aam Aadmi Party said, hey, to BJP ka kaam hai. BJP will say, who is getting the Rohingyas into Delhi? Who is getting these Bangladeshis into Delhi? Where is the vote bank coming from? We know what the practical problems are. So I think this is the opportunity for Mr. Amit Shah and Mr. Modi, take the cognizance of the situation and make Delhi as a full-fledged union territory. Don't get into that problem of having two kinds of sites. You can't afford that in Delhi. And in fact, all the cities and towns which are sensitive are around the borders. We should have same doctrine be applied to all of them, because you cannot have national security at a risk. How far is the energy hub from from this place? It's very next to the airport. There are sensitive installations we need. If they can plant this thing there, they can plant it somewhere else also. So you and my kids going to the school, should we be worried tomorrow morning? What will happen to the school? No, we should not be. We don't deserve to be. So it is a time for central government to act. This is an alarm. If you want to look at it, this is an alarm. If you want to ignore it, it's like alarm gets up, you can switch it off or you can act on it. I think, in my opinion, this is an alarm. We should work on it and see whatever we can do, and to have proactive measures which can prevent all these kind of incidents from happening. Politics will remain, but nothing is above and beyond the law. If law is strong, every kind of politics will prevail. And beneath my hand folded request, let's not be secular in handling terrorism. Let's not try to be secular in handling terrorism, because that is the last death nail you can really put in the coffin of India if you try to be secular while handling terrorism. Terrorism is not secular, let me tell you something.
General Katoch, what do you make of this, this volatility that we have seen in our security apparatus, right from what's happening at the airports to what's happened in Delhi right now?
When I'm looking at the hoax bomb calls which are continuously coming in, I think that's a very sad state of affairs, because one, if we are going to call it a prank, then okay, treat it as a prank, don't take action on it. But if with every hoax call we are going to get our aircraft grounded and then carry out another search, that means that the initial search itself we weren't confident of. So some of these things I think we have to be very, very clear. If it's a hoax bomb call, please treat it as a hoax. It will take time to find out where it originated from and what happened. But then I think we should stop taking action on that. Stop grounding our flights based on these calls. That is the first step which we need to take. As far as this bomb is concerned, I think that is good, because here there is a practical application. Yeah, when the bomb went off, there was nobody there, but there could have been somebody there. There could have been a car full of children somewhere around there. We could have had 10 dead, 5 dead, something like that, you see, and then it would have become an international situation. Sometimes in India, because an explosive does not achieve any results, an IED device, a bus has been hit, but the bus was empty. We don't take it seriously. But if there were 40 passengers in that bus, then it becomes a very serious issue. We are prepared to go to war with it. Now, the point is the incident is the same. The incident is simply pertains to planting that explosive to target somebody. So this is an incident which is an act of war against the state of India, period. And it has to be taken with that seriousness. And the perpetrators, I think they need to be sorted out, which I presume will happen over the next few days. Our intelligence and the police force is very good as far as Delhi is concerned. But the larger concern, you see, which both my co-panelists have mentioned, and very correctly so, is the influx which is coming into Delhi of the illegals, be they Rohingyas, be they Bangladeshis, be they elsewhere. And they are simply being kept in here simply as vote bank politics. Now, I want to give you an example. Where I live in Gurgaon, there's that flyover over a place called Rajiv Chowk. And a whole lot of people, suddenly when I was driving past one day, this is about 2 months back, I saw a whole lot of these people settled under the flyover. They were not there earlier. Then I gave a complaint, and I was very happy to see that within a week or so, they had been evicted from there and a fencing was put. Now they have come back there again. So there is something wrong with our systems. I mean, why is the state so soft? There are some things which are not permissible. We need, it is not a shortage of laws. I disagree with Sumit when he says we need stricter laws. For God's sake, we've got very strict laws. We need to simply apply those laws. And when you start applying those laws, people will say this is an emergency state, So all this illegals, etc., start taking action on them for God's sake. There is no human right angle here. The Supreme Court is very clear on it. They are not Indian citizens. They have got no rights. Please throw them out of here. They can go back wherever they wish to go, but not here. And number two, I think it is now time also for the public to be very alert and to be totally cooperative with the police. It is not a fight of the government of India or the police forces of Delhi. It is a fight of the people of India against terrorism. And I think all of us now must join hands. If certain political parties want to play games, well, they will see the result in the next elections. But for the rest of us, let us do the right thing. Let us make our cities safe. Vineet.
Absolutely, Mr. Mani. The illegals coming into the capital city is obviously a big problem. Where are we going wrong when it comes to this? General Katoch obviously pointed out, said that there are a number of laws, but are we proving to be incompetent in terms of applying these laws?
Basically, it is a political will. That is the reason I will take it along with Mr. Sunil, say that let us bring terrorism under the union list, tag it along with citizenship, naturalization, border controls, all of them together, that one umbrella clause is there under the union list. I have been saying this in your own channel for the last 6 years. Terrorism has to come under the union list. As regards the political angle to it, today the same former ex-home minister has said that a particular type of terrorism generally was their political agenda when he was the home minister. Now, will he be brought to book? Will he be brought before the law? Will he be prosecuted for spreading a lie about terrorism? Because terrorism is a national challenge. Terrorism, there should be no politics, as anybody would agree. And if anybody later on, after 10 years of leaving his ministership, if he confesses that he did this as a political agenda, will the state act against that gentleman at this stage? This is because I was personally harassed for not towing those lines. That is a secondary matter. But the question again is, this is a very important point. Earlier he said that he was scared of going to judgment case. At that time it was let loose. Now he has come out and said that in the particular type of terrorism, he made a statement of a political compulsion. Now this type of attitude to terrorism should go. I am sure the Honorable Home Minister, who has also been a co-victim of mine in the entire process, has faced a lot of issues because of this persecution under the garb of false garb of terrorism. They all will also take note of this and take suitable action. But it needs to be done. It should be politically neutral. As somebody said, no secularism. Let us not do any. There is nothing secular about it. If a person is convicted of the terrorist act, just don't keep it as a patriot act. Bring terrorism along with border controls and all those things under the union list, citizenship, border control, terrorism, everything, and put it under one single Ministry of Internal Security and one simple dedicated union minister, one of the senior most ministers, and let it be handled. Number two, also make a constitutional amendment that certain percentage, some number, 3%, 5%, because both the defense forces as well as, although in the present regime, lot of real-time investment have taken place, sort of strengthening in infrastructure has happened, quality of infrastructure has improved, but still we need to have a lot more to be done, especially in terms of megacity policing, where this is a challenge here, coastal policing, desert policing, mountain policing. There lot of specialized policing has also to happen. For that, lot of budget. So make it very clear cut that security and defense will have total constitutionally 5% of the 5%, not the fiscal deficit, but GDP. Like that, you bring out a clause in the constitution so that at least those parts, because our soldiers, our security forces, they should not be suffering from lack of infrastructure, lack of intelligence, or intelligence is there but they are not able to act. So many constraints are there. These are all ground level realities. I believe that they should bring, somebody should take this call. I'm sure the Katoch will agree with me, or maybe somebody takes a call. The number may be X, Y, Z, but there should be no further dilution of that number.
All
The
right.
constitutional mandate, make it like that. Thank you.
Sumit, concluding thoughts. We've completely run out of time, please.
First of all, when you look at the Suraksha or the defense on the security of the country, you have a budget which is allocated to the army and all. In my opinion, first of all, that budget is less. I've been always advocating there should be, we need 30, 40, 50 billion dollars right now for the big infrastructure push, for the big arms push, because looking at the hostilities around, shaping us around, which are changing and getting hostile every day. So if you have 80 billion, let's say 80 billion, you have a budget for the external defense, another 40 billion should be allocated for the internal security under a different ministry, wherein at 80 plus 20, 120 billion is allocated for the Suraksha of the country. Suraksha is not only from external threats, Suraksha is also from the internal threats. And this ministry should have the sweeping powers, and there should be no state, nothing. Wherever they think, wherever they feel they have to go and act about it, and we have to send one message very clear. Terrorism has no religion, terrorists have no human rights. These two things have to be sent very, very clear. And terrorist is not only a person who pulls the terror. Overground worker, facilitator, sympathizer, the people who come and give them intellectual cover fire. Unless until you group them all in the same category, we'll have these challenges to be fighting out. A knee-jerk piecemeal approach is not going to work. If we want to really keep our country 1.4 billion people safe, we need to have at least $140 billion spent on the defense, give it 100 to the army at least and 40 to this internal security ministry. Then you can hope something to be there. And I agree to Manish Saab's point where he says an X amount of the GDP must be allocated to these two. But it's not tomorrow Congress comes or somebody else comes, he will dilute it. Nahin, itna bahut hai. This has to be given to them, and the budget has to be capex and manpower. This is for capex, this is for manpower, and let's not try to cut manpower in police and army, please.
All right, valid point there, and of course all of these points are totally welcomed here and should definitely be implemented when the time is right. Thank you everyone for being a part of this conversation.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.